the living shit out of the Indiana Fever. So Indiana Fever, and it's been my belief that they will freaking fire everyone. And I do believe this. So if you're a Fever fan and you're hoping they'll keep Caitlin Clark, it's my belief that when push comes to shove, there's no way they can let her get away. They will fire everybody and start over. That's my belief. I cannot imagine the level of fumbling.
What do you get when Gatorade tries to ride the Caitlin Clark wave, but forgets who's actually paddling? A flaming PR disaster with extra electrolytes. The WNBA thought they had a slam dunk. Turns out it was more of an airball into a dumpster. Fire. And wait till you hear what fans really think. Fever management might want to sit down for this poll. Oh, and Caitlin just racked up $660,000 like it's pocket change. Grab popcorn. This one's juicy. If she leaves the Fever, I'm gone. 2. That's not a whisper anymore. It's a full-blown rallying cry. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing in the WNBA. She is the WNBA for an entire new
forever for women.
I see a lot of young girls here today, and I see how inspired they are, and she's even gotten me back into basketball.
I think she has brought attention. She did it for us. We had never watched, and we have become big fans.
I don't think her contributions have been extreme as what people think they are. I think the league in itself has been getting better, and that's really what we should be focusing on.
I think she's brought a lot of attention to the WNBA, and it's needed.
I think it's great. I actually grew up watching the WNBA, so it's really exciting to see a resurgence.
She meant everything. I never watched it before.
Of fans who didn't even know what a Fever was 6 months ago. The way things are going, Indiana better start prepping a custody lawyer because it looks like Caitlin's about to take half the fan base in the divorce. These aren't casual fans either. These are DRRDs converted, baptized, and fully immersed. In the Church of Caitlin, they don't care about zip codes or team colors. Caitlin's the logo. Her jersey isn't a uniform, it's a GPS. Wherever she goes, they go. The loyalty.
And there's enough votes here. This is a good test to see how bad this would be. Swag put this out, and it's starting to make the rounds. I voted. Okay, Fever fans, answer this. If Caitlin leaves Fever, would you still support the Fever? We got 1,145 votes here. Nope, my bags are packed is far and away.
Isn't to Indiana, it's to her. The rest of the roster, love them, respect them, but when the lights go down and it's time to choose between a franchise and the phenom who made you care in the first place, there's no debate, it's double C or bust, and Fever fans are sweating. Because it's starting to look a lot like bust, not because Caitlin's underperforming. Oh no, she's doing exactly what she was drafted to do. Bring attention, ratings, packed arenas,
and for letting her cook. Me dinner.
I'm buying Powerade stock.
Is it a play on like women shouldn't? No, they didn't do it on purpose. There's no way. How you came up with this and not in the back of your minds like, oh, they're just gonna be like, oh, it's women. She just needs to cook. Didn't think about that in the PR room. Look, I'm a big.
Help turn this sorry franchise into something resembling professional basketball. The problem is, the only person who hasn't seemed to notice that might be her coach. Years ago, it's about current momentum because somehow the game plan sounds less like empower your superstar and more like a maybe next quarter, which is hilarious because spoiler alert, they're not winning. They're losing and losing ugly. But somehow, when it's time for the post-game chat, the same script plays out. One player can't hit water. Ifsh fell out of a boat. Goes 2 for 14. The coach's response, keep shooting, honey. They'll fall eventually.
Listen, NBA players make 50% of revenues. WNBA players make 9%, and now the merch sales are up 500%, and attendance is up, 40%. So they're going to get a raise. There's no question. And I don't really care that the previous 25 years they didn't make a lot of money or lost money. I don't care. They're in the middle of a negotiation, and they're on a heater. So it doesn't really matter. I've said this before. I made an investment for 5 years and it lost money. And I got about 6 months left in the investment. And in the last 6 months, they started making cash. I'm not bailing on the investment. I want to finally get my money back. So they're going to get a raise. They're finally turning a corner. But and negotiating in any business is all about current momentum. It's not about 12 years ago.
Caitlin takes one contested 3 in crunch time. Instant lecture. That's not just confusing. That's borderline performance art. Fans aren't blind. They see what's happening, and they're not sticking around to watch a slow-motion sabotage of the only reason they bought tickets in the first place. The message is loud, clear, and repeated more times than a WNBA highlight on ESPN3. If Caitlin leaves, because this isn't just fandom, it's migration. And Caitlin Clark is the monarch butterfly. These people aren't packing Fever merch, they're packing portable allegiance. And they don't care if she ends up in New York, Las Vegas, or the Bermuda Triangle. Their following doesn't matter if the team changes names, cities, or suddenly rebrands as the Toilet Paper Tornadoes. If CeCe's on the roster, they're all in. It's not just a trend, it's a full-scale phenomenon, and Fever management should be terrified. See, these fans aren't trying to be dramatic. They're just stating the facts. Caitlin's the reason they even gave the WNBA a chance. It wasn't the league's marketing.
Media driver. She is a ratings driver. I think about the NBA post Magic and Larry, the NBA post Michael Jordan, tennis post Serena Williams, golf post Tiger Woods, right? There are certain athletes that drive the sport more than others. And that's not to take away from anyone else drafted tonight. That's not to take away from the other incredible superstars in the WNBA.
It wasn't the flashy promos or the Instagram reels. It was one Iowa kid with Steph Curry, range, insane court vision, and the charisma of a late-night talk show host. She made women's basketball must-see TV. Now imagine voluntarily sidelining that. It's like discovering a gold mine and then deciding to pave over it to build a strip mall. It makes zero sense, and the investors are furious. And yes, fans love the rest of the squad. Nobody's trying to erase the rest of the roster. Keep your issues to yourself. The worst part, it's starting to look intentional, like there's some twisted logic being applied behind the scenes. Keep the rookie humble. Don't let her get too big. Make sure the veterans get their touches, even if they're shooting. Percentage is closer to a Powerball jackpot than league average. Meanwhile, the fans are screaming, just let her cook. But nope, every time she heats up, someone yanks the pan off the burner. Now combine that with awkward body language, tense press conferences, and questionable league decisions. And suddenly, the Caitlin Clark fanbase isn't just loyal, they're angry. They feel like they've been sold a bill of goods. You can't hype up your new superstar, sell her face to every brand from Gatorade to garden hoses, and then treat her like a glorified decoy during the actual game. That's not strategy.
But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself.
That's sabotage in slow motion. So, what happens if she leaves? Simple. The WNBA experiences the largest fan exodus since the invention of streaming services. One day, you're playing in front of packed houses and record-breaking viewership. The next, it's crickets, and reruns of Ninja Warrior are pulling higher ratings. And don't think this is all talk. These fans aren't bluffing. They've already started scouting other cities. They've got maps, spreadsheets, group chats. Some have rental apps open in Phoenix. Others are learning the Las Vegas zip code system. There are Caitlin Clark watch parties being planned in states she doesn't even play in yet, just in case she gets traded, because they're not tied to a logo. They're tied to a legacy. They didn't fall in love with Indiana basketball. They didn't even know what a Fever was 6 months ago. It's not just fandom. It's a hostage situation. Fever management had one job. Don't screw this up. And yet here we are watching as they seemingly try to break the only thing that's working. Caitlin Clark fans didn't come this far just to be ignored. And they're not going to quietly cheer for her while she's reduced to a glorified ball shitler. So yeah, when people say they'll leave if she does, believe them. Because for them, Caitlin Clark isn't a player. She's the product. The entire ecosystem revolves.
I'm going to pass on that question, actually. WNBA star Caitlin Clark is transforming women's sports. She fills arenas night after night, and her games have smashed TV viewership records. And if you watch Clark play, well, it's not hard to figure out why. She makes deep three-pointers look easy. And like all stars, wants the ball when the game is on.
Around her. Take her out of Indiana, and that team's back to being just another name in a box score. Put her anywhere else, and that city instantly becomes the epicenter of WNBA fandom. Fans aren't being emotional. They're being realistic. They don't owe the Fever anything. They gave the team a chance because of Caitlin. They stayed because of Caitlin. And they'll leave because, well, Caitlin might not stick around if the current nonsense keeps up. Maybe stop treating her like a side character in someone else's drama. Because if she walks, it's not just a trade. It's an extinction-level event. And this time, it won't be a fever dream. It'll be a full-blown nightmare. Sounds like Stephanie White's coaching philosophy is less develop your superstar and more micromanage her into a rep. With the Zezes at this point, it's not even subtext anymore. It's barely coded Morse code, blinking across every press conference. Caitlin Clark was never my pick. Sure, she smiled for the cameras and talked about adjusting systems. But now that the season's rolling, it feels like she's trying to shrink Caitlin into the exact kind of quiet, deferential, don't rock the boat player the old guard can tolerate. But here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark isn't built for the back seat. She's not an accessory to some outdated game plan held together by gum and vibes. She's the engine, the GPS, the Spotify playlist, and the reason the car even started in the first place.
And I think it's like something where if you are a star in the WNBA like Caitlin Clark, she's probably one of the few people that anybody you can mention to somebody that knows sports will know Caitlin Clark. Yeah. She's getting a ton of deals. Coke, Gatorade, you name Nike deals. Now, I know a lot of the other players, like if you're the 12th person on the team, you're probably not making that much money, but I just feel like coming out like this, what are they going to bargain with? What is their like thing they're coming with that's going to change their salary? And that's what I was trying to figure out. I couldn't understand because they're already rev sharing. The NBA already gives them money, compensates for the loss.
And yet, game by game, you can practically see Stephanie White handing out emotional speed bumps and strategic U-turns like she's directing traffic instead of running an offense. It's wild because this isn't even about subtle disagreements on playstyle anymore. This feels personal, like the kind of energy you give someone who was dropped into your house by corporate and now you're forced to host a dinner party with a smile. Except in this case, the dinner guest is cooking 5-star meals, paying the rent, and somehow still getting told to just relax and pass the salt. Let's call it what it is: resistance. From day one, it felt like Stephanie White was gritting her teeth through the Caitlin Clark era. All the high-minded talk of embracing her game, vapor. Instead, we've gotten game plans where Clark is left parked in a corner while teammates with the green light throw up bricks like they're building a WNBA-themed Olive Garden. Endless breadsticks, no buckets. And yet, when Clark manages to squeeze out 15 assists, 23 points, and some viral highlight while ducking elbows, and referee chaos, silence. No celebration, no praise, just another tight-lipped post-game speech about spacing or letting the
bird. She had Van Slugenhagen on her. She was like, I'm offended that y'all have white defensive players guarding me, and she put her in the torture chamber. You should have known from her little face that she didn't want this matchup from the beginning. Caitlin reminds me of what Dame does. If anybody ever noticed, her first shot, always a three. First quarter, second quarter, third. She sets the distance on her first shot, so you have to guard her there. Now she can do whatever she wants to do. She's playing a chess game. That's what Dame does. He starts his game off. He's going to shoot deep.
And it never stops yelling. Recalculate. Let her cook. Turn around. Caitlin's got fans from every state, every time zone, every tax bracket. Middle schoolers, 80-year-old basketball lifers, casuals, diehards, even people who still think the WNBA is played on a 9FFT rim. She's not just a player. She's a brand, a revolution. The WNBA's golden goose, laying media engagement eggs faster than the league can cash them. If the marketing team had it their way, she'd be wearing a camera on her head and live streaming her morning stretches, but on the court, you'd think she was a second-round bench warmer, the way she's used sometimes. And we're all supposed to pretend like that's normal. Please, Stephanie White can drop all the coaching cliches she wants. Stick to the plan. Everyone has a role. Let's not skip steps. That's all well and good until you realize the only step being skipped is letting Caitlin Clark be Caitlin Clark. And the funniest part, it's not working. The Keep Caitlin Contained experiment isn't producing wins. It's producing chaos, confusion, miscommunications that look like they were choreographed by Cheer Dussel. Meanwhile, fans are losing it because they see exactly what's happening. It's basketball 101 with a splash of common sense. But Stephanie White seems determined to run the Caitlin Clark experience through a meat grinder of, we do things my way. That would be fine if her way was producing championships. Instead, it's producing latter game meltdowns and fan-based meltdowns, often simultaneously. So, here we are, mid-season, and the narrative is clear. Clark didn't walk into a team ready to elevate her. Luckily, she's not alone, because Caitlin Clark...
WNBA before Caitlin Clark? and the WNBA after Caitlin Clark. Describe these two worlds.
Oh, entirely different. 180, you know. The WNBA before started in 1997, the year after the Atlanta Olympics, and was launched into a time when women's sports was still not taken seriously by a lot of, people. And some of those same guys now, if we want to talk about before and after, some of those same guys, or guys like them, are the ones buying the 22 jerseys, wearing them to games, Major, but also to the grocery store and to the gas station. It is now cool to be a WNBA fan, and it is cool to love Caitlin Clark, and the spotlight that is finally shining
Clark is not just another player. She's a movement, and movements don't sit quietly. They don't wait politely for permission to shine. They take over. They explode through resistance like a highlight reel dunk in slow motion. And if the fever doesn't wake up fast, they'll be the answer to a trivia question, not a dynasty. So yeah, maybe Stephanie White never wanted Caitlin Clark. Maybe she wanted someone easier to mold, easier to coach, easier to ignore. But tough luck, she got a phenom, a lightning bolt in high tops. And no amount of stubborn game plans is going to stop what's coming. Caitlin Clark isn't waiting for a green light anymore. She is the light. The question is, will the fever keep dimming it or finally let it shine?